He thought he had the flu. Months later, the patient Ted Asterisk, a public sector worker in his late 40s. The symptoms: low-grade fever, persistent cough, and fatigue. The doctor, Dr. Neil Shear, head of dermatology at Sunnybrook Health Sciences Centre in Toronto, Canada. For 3 weeks in February 2017, Ted struggled to banish what he thought was a nasty flu bug. He had a dry cough. Finally, fed up with feeling lousy, Ted went to his family doctor, who discovered puzzling sores the size of small warts inside his mouth and nose and referred him to the internal medicine clinic at Sunnybrook Hospital in Toronto. The physician there said it was now April, 3 months after Ted started feeling sick, and his health quickly deteriorated. His cough worsened and he was so tired he could barely make it through his workday. Ted also lost. Ted was referred to an oral surgeon, who biopsied the lesions in his mouth. The results were red. Unfortunately, 2 weeks of taking corticosteroids to control inflammation and suppress his immune system didn't relieve Ted's symptoms. The lesions had spread. Shear took one look at the patient and knew he didn't have vasculitis. Once you see a condition, flu-like symptoms typically appear 1 to 3 months after a person inhales the fungus. Once the micro or blastomycosis is uncommon in many regions, and Ted is still unsure where he picked up the illness. According to the Center, in Ted's case, the fungal elements were noted but weren't perceived as being significant. It can take a little. Fortunately, the condition is treatable. Although Shear asterisk name changed to protect patient privacy. The post appeared first on related video: worst spring for flu cases in decades, provided by KSDK TV Street. Lewis.
Raindrop, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.